Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
Is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am thrilled today to have SaraCatherine Holder with me. She is the Senior Director of Training at barre3, which is an incredible company, fitness wellness that now has 1,500 instructors, 1,500 plus. Is that correct, SaraCatherine?
Right, and counting.
Good grief. That is a lot of 180 plus studios across US and Canada. So I'm incredibly excited to have SaraCatherine here with me. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, I'm so thrilled to be here.
I'm so excited. I want to hop right in and just get a full download from you on where your journey started first in fitness. Where did your love for fitness start?
That's a funny question. I'm excited to answer. So I grew up dancing. I did tap and jazz and had a career in my early life as a musical theater performer. So movement has always been a part of my life, but I wasn't ever like a sporty gal. I didn't play sports or think about fitness in any sort of way, except for something that was not appealing, right? There was something that I didn't really want to engage in, and it felt like work. In my 20s, when I lived in Portland, I started taking yoga and Pilates, and I was like, okay, this is more my style. Like, I enjoyed like the form-based aspect. I loved that the mindfulness aspect, like the breathing and the mind-body connection stuff. And then when I lived in, and I took a few group fitness classes, and I was like, this is fun. I feel like I would like to teach group fitness at some point, but mostly because, my performance background. I'm a put on a show kind of gal. So then when I was living in Portland, one of my friends who was also an actor in the Portland theater scene, I knew she worked for barre3, and it was a really new company at the time. And I asked her about it. I knew they had online workouts. And so I was like, I want to try these online workouts because, I was a working actor, didn't have a whole lot of extra income. And I was like, could I try a class in the studio and just like see what it's about? And she was like, sure. So she sent me in. I took my first class and was like, oh, okay, this is it. So I'm not really like a group fitness girly. You know what I mean? But I found barre3, and we moved to the music. So it felt like I felt at home in that way, that it was beat driven. And I loved the class from the first time I took it. It sort of mixed the elements of yoga and Pilates that I loved with the dance class kind of feel, and everybody was so nice. And right after my first class, my instructor was like, are you a dancer? And I was like, oh yeah, yes, actually I have done that. And I reached out to my friend Lisa, who she and I still work together at barre3. We're still side by side. And I said, yeah, can I sweep the floors or something? I want to take class, but I, can't afford it. And they said, yeah, actually we have shifts in the childcare and at the front desk. And so I started working at the front desk and in the childcare in our Portland studios, and the rest is history. That I became an instructor on down the road, and then here we are.
And then from front desk and instructor to now being the senior director, how did you pivot to being in such a leadership role?
That's a great question. So when I started working for barre3, I quickly learned, I felt right at home, and I felt like I was surrounded by people who, like-minded people. The energy, the culture just felt really inclusive. And like I said, my sort of relationship with fitness prior had all been, like many people's relationship with fitness is like something that felt punishing, something that felt like an obligation to make myself look a different way than I looked. and brought a lot of sort of negative feelings about myself associated with it. So to be in a situation where that's not what I was feeling felt really exciting. I became an instructor about 6 months after I started working for barre3, excuse me. And through that process, I learned a lot more about our core values and about who we are as a company. And I remember this so distinctly, Danielle, this moment when the trainer that was leading my training, who was, I really looked up to her at the time. She was, at the time, we used the three words: bright, balanced, and boundless, and to describe our company. And she said, the opportunities at barre3 are boundless. And I was like, there's more for me here. Yeah. And as I became an instructor, I just kept reaching for more, asking for more. We moved to Nashville. My partner and I moved to Nashville in 2014, and there was a barre3 studio there that had just opened. I got connected with the studio owner there. And I remember sitting down with my friend Lisa, who I started the story with, and I was like, I don't want to move away and like
lose it
away. Yeah. You know what I mean? I knew that I wanted to be a trainer. I was like, I think I could do this. Like, I love this so much, and I like to teach people things, and feel like this might be a great fit for me. And so basically I just kept bothering them and was like, I moved to Nashville, started working in the studio in Nashville, and kept just kind of knocking on the door saying like, I think there's a need for somebody that's not in Portland, that's closer to our franchise locations, that can be out here and travel and interact with our studio owners and our instructors more. And so they started sending me on trips to visit studios, and I started getting the bug of leading in-person trainings, which is still my favorite part of the job. And then over time, I bothered them enough to, then they allowed me to come on full time. And then I started working full time for the home office. And since then have just sort of, I'm a natural leader. I think it's one of the qualities, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So the need and desire for more is sort of innate in me. I always am reaching for more, grasping for more, and continual improvement and that sort of thing. So it all kind of led to where I am now.
I have two things that you said that I just want to like re-emphasize. One is that you knew as soon as you heard that word, like the boundless, like there's more for me. You knew there was more for you to capture with barre3. You knew there was more for you to tackle. And then also you kept reaching and you kept grabbing things because you love this place so much. And I think it's so powerful that when you find a place and a thing that you love, you keep reaching, you keep grabbing, you keep wanting to explore more and more things that you can do there. And I think it's so powerful that you were able to do that, and you found such a beautiful home with barre3 and doing what you're doing today.
Yeah, one of our core values is make it happen, and it has always resonated with me. And so once you we're a company full of people who are like, once I put my mind to something, we're gonna do what we have to do, and get scrappy if we need to, but and make it happen.
Yes, I love that. I just want to get into a little bit more of your training and leadership, and kind of when you are going around and traveling, how do you approach training such a large and diverse group of instructors across North America and Canada?
Yeah, that's a great question. Certainly, I came into this without a whole lot of experience. I mean, I had a theater background. It turns out being an actor and working in the theater, there's a lot of transferable skills when it comes to working with people and communicating with people and learning how to adapt what you're doing to collaborate in a productive way with the people around you. So I joke about it. My parents are so proud I'm using my theater degree, but but truly that the work that I did for all those years and learning to work and collaborate with people who are very different from me and learn and process in a different way helped. And I've learned a lot over the years. It wasn't like I came out the gate like doing it really well. There was a lot of trial and error.
Totally.
But I think one of the things that we think about a lot on our team is that people, we embrace the diversity and people's authentic ways of being and learning. And so we work really hard to build our trainings in a way, whether they're in person or virtual, or even like our e-learning stuff,
Yep.
that will accommodate different learning styles, so that some people are really visual, some people love interactive, some people love reading something first and then coming back and discussing it, right? And so being really aware and making sure that we're creating a space when we are in person or even virtually, that people feel brave to ask for what they need, and then for us as trainers to really listen and focus on each individual and the group as a whole.
And with doing that, like, I want to get into how, barre3 emphasizes empowerment from within. How do some of these core values and how do these, you know, pillars that you guys stand on, how do you kind of get that into the training as well to make sure that these trainers then understand, like, hey, how do we emphasize this to then people that are taking the classes as well?
Yeah, this is like the good stuff, right? So I will say this, and I just heard our founder, Sadie Lincoln, talking about this in a company meeting that we just had. And we're talking about our year of 24 and talking about what's coming up in 25 and all that sort of stuff. And she was like, our vision, mission, and values are so rock solid in our company. Like, we are rooted heavily in our mission, which is to teach people to be balanced in body and empowered from within. We know that we're delivering that with a remarkable class, and our core values are something that, like I said, when I went through instructor training and I learned about them, they all resonated with me immediately, every single one of them. And though they've shifted a little bit, the language has shifted over the years, at the core of what it is, they're the same as they have been. And I think we attract people that are aligned with what we do, because our vision, mission, and values are so solidified and such an integral part and a foundation of our company. And it's funny because you can talk to clients who take our classes, and they can be saying exactly all the things without knowing anything about it. But the way that they speak back to you, they're speaking back what their, what their instructors are saying to them during class. And our core values really are at the root of everything that we do.
Love it. Is there a difference in how you are training your instructors, whether it's the in-person classes or the virtual?
Yeah, so we train all of the instructors that I work with are at our franchise locations and our company-owned studios. So it's the instructors that are teaching in person. Yeah, and before the pandemic, we did all of our trainings in person also. So all of our new instructor training and advanced training happened in person. And then, of course, we had to pivot, right? Because the world
shut down.
Right, shut down, and we weren't able to do in-person training. And yet we were still training people. Our studios remarkably had their doors, their virtual doors open. People were still training, teaching, live stream classes, and all that sort of stuff. So we definitely had to pivot to the virtual model, and that brought a lot of changes for us.
Yep. Has it pulled away now? Are you guys back fully into in-person and have moved away from the virtual? Or are there still some people who are like, I feel more comfortable with the virtual?
Actually, that's a great question. So we haven't gone back to in-person training for new instructors. So everything is virtual. What has changed a lot is the structure that we provide for our franchise locations. Every location has a mentor, is what we call them, the person that's in charge of training and developing the instructors on their local team. So we have our mentors doing a bang up job out there, and then they come to us virtually, and then they go and learn. Then we have in-person opportunities for advanced level trainings once people are certified, but we've pivoted our whole model over to virtual.
I love that. And what I love too is barre3 keeps expanding what you guys are doing, the types of classes that you guys are offering. You now have B3 Strength and you have B3 Mindful Flow. Is there any type of training differential? Like, how do you make sure your instructors are prepared to deliver all these different types of experiences?
Great question. So, all of our instructors at this point are required to become certified in our signature class, which is the class that has that started it all. It's our bread and butter. Still, the majority of the classes that are offered in our studios are the signature class. So, they go through a training program and they learn all about the barre3 signature class. And then our extension classes, like you mentioned, B3 strength, B3 cardio, B3 mindful flow, all of the areas, like the requirements are the same, like how you use your body, how you're cueing, how you're connecting with clients. So those elements are the same, but they're just tailored for each class type. And so there's a separate training program for each class type that then once they're certified in the signature class, they're able to do this second training or third, or so we have people that are certified in all 4 class types as well. And they learn the nuances of each class type. And yeah.
I'm sitting here, and as you were just talking through that, I'm like, the queuing would be my biggest challenge and learning how to do it, because I think it's like you want to like hop in, but you don't want to hop in at at the wrong time. You want to make sure that people are kind of doing their thing, and you don't want to interrupt it. So that would be my biggest challenge, I think.
Yeah, it's it's really interesting. I can't, it's like your mama's fried chicken recipe. I can't tell you all the details of the nuances, because that's what makes it special. But we do have a really structured way, like a roadmap, if you will, to keep our instructors right on track when it comes to, and that's how we get consistency across 190 studios, right? So that if you take class I'm in Chicago, you take class in Chicago, you take class in Portland, you take class in Florida, right? That the class feels like a barre3 class. And it really does come down to our approach to queuing and our approach to the way that we connect with clients. I feel like is what makes barre3 super special.
I love that. We've hinted on just a few of the things just in general of like pivoting during COVID, and some of, you not having the background but completely just jumping into all this. Has there been challenges along the way that you faced just in terms of scaling these training programs and training these instructors that you're just like, yes, these have been some of the biggest challenges that we faced and have overcome?
Yeah, I would say that, those first, like the March 2020, like our first virtual intensive that we did, we basically tried to take what we had done in 3 days in person and squeeze it into like 2 days on Zoom. And we made it happen. Like we got it done. There have been so many things, and we're continuing even 4 years in to refine what that virtual experience looks like. And I definitely think that's been one of the biggest challenges, continues to be a challenge, because like there's no way that being together on Zoom is going to have the same energy and the same sort of magic that being in person does. Right. So it's how can we bring all the good feels and all the excitement and inspiration into a virtual space, and we're continuing to learn. And as technology changes and improves, there's so many more. Zoom, for example, is just like so much better than it used to be. And so we're always trying to figure out new ways to optimize technology to make our training experiences richer.
barre3 has, expanded significantly. We put out the numbers: 190 plus studios, 1,500 plus instructors. How have the training programs adapted to meet this growing community?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's sort of the puzzle that I'm putting together every day. It was like, as our company expands and our class types, right? So for our B3 strength class launched, I'm like, years are running together in my head. It launched in December of 22. Okay. That's right. And right. Yep. That's right. And so we're like on 2 years of having, because up until that point, for 14 years prior, all we had was the signature class. And so not only is our franchise fleet growing, our class offerings have grown as well. And so that's really where we are, especially in this moment of kind of recovery from the pandemic and back into a mode of growth is how do we continue to retain the integrity of our in studio products at scale? And that's the fun stuff. That's the stuff I love. And really that comes with, like, I say this to myself, clear expectations on simple guidelines, like, right? So we've got to set really, also, here's the other interesting thing about being a franchise organization is that the employees that we're working with are not our employees.
Yeah.
Somebody else's employees, right? So we, as the franchisor, provide the brand standards, if you will, right? Like, this is what it means to be a barre3. And whether that's the sign you have on the front door or the, the products you have in the retail that you sell or the class itself, right? Yep. These are the standards. Here's the expectation. And then it's up to the studio owner to make it happen, if you will, like decide how they do it. So, we creating clear expectations and then really simple guidelines.
Okay.
Like simplify.
Yeah.
So, like, we have these big ideas like, oh yeah, we want to, like, for example, in our class, we just evolved the way that we are doing core work in our class.
Okay.
So up for the last, I don't know, 5-7 years, we've been only doing core stability, which means that you keep your spine in neutral and there's the movement under load. And so because the science is showing us that, it's actually really great to move your spine under load, then we're changing the class. And so how do we do that in a way that keeps our clients safe, meets the needs of our clients, and we can train a whole slew of instructors on all the nuances of, like, a pretty complicated thing. You have to, like, distill and make things as clear as possible so that it's easy to, like, say and hear and then go implement.
Yep. I love what you just said, though, about, changing based on the science and the things that are coming out, because I think it's important. I think there are some places that get really stuck in ways, but at the same time, it's like, well, hold on, this is changing, this is coming out and saying whatever it is. But I think it's important that you guys are changing based on some of the things that are coming out, because everybody's kind of doing different things these days.
Yeah, totally. And, in the world that we live in, where there's all kinds of messages coming at everybody from all different kinds of places, right? People, have an idea about what it is that they need as a client. So like I was saying, we want to make sure that everything that we're doing in our classes we're not just chasing trends. Yeah. Oh, for example, like strength is really hot right now, and cardio, like there's stuff about like cardio is bad for you or whatever. But realistically, the pendulum swings back and forth in fitness just like it does with anything else. So, like, sifting through that, finding reliable sources of information, and that's what our product team does. We have an incredible team of people who is researching and developing all the time, and then deciding what is really and truly going to meet the needs of our client. One of our core values, I'll come back to them because I love them so much, is love of learning. And so being open to learning and being a barre3 instructor requires that you're, like, open for that. I've heard Sadie say it many times, Sadie Lincoln saying, like, the one thing you can count on is that we're going to change. And, with change comes uncomfortability, but also change is growth and progress forward. Yeah.
As someone who was an instructor and is now in the position that you were in and still, loves to teach, how does that experience inform your approach to how you train and how you educate in your leadership style?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so I still teach. I teach every week. I teach right here in the West Loop in Chicago at our West Loop studio. And I'm so grateful for it. I talk about this with team members a lot. I think one of the benefits of being on our team in this company is that we are hands on the product, right? We are interacting with clients every day. And I'm like hustling, you know what I mean? Like, I want people to come back to my class. I want people to buy memberships and come and support our studio. So I think being in the position, it brings a lot of There's a lot of empathy, right, that comes with that, because I know how hard it is to teach to a small class. I know what it's like to have a full-time job and other obligations in my life and still deliver the absolute highest standard
Absolutely.
I can, right? And so I believe that because I'm still in it and I'm still doing it, and I just love it so much, but also it really does, it creates a foundation of trust with our instructors, and for our team really roots us in empathy and understanding.
I'm not going to make you pick a child, but I'm going to make you pick a child in some way. Is there a certain program that you love to teach more than others?
Oh, the barre3 signature 60-minute class, the original, the OG is
OG.
my every time, I learned to teach other class types and got certified and was teaching them. And I was like, I just
No,
like a
it's
warm
home.
hug. It's really, and I'm very open about it. We have a 45-minute signature class as well, which is great and wonderful. And I love to speak it and I teach it as well. But the 60-minute class it's like a pair of comfy slippers for me.
I love that. I love it. I was actually just with my trainer this morning and I'm like, she was asking me, she was like, were you sore? And I'm like, I love being sore though. Like, I'm like, it's the best feeling in the world for me because I'm like, it means I actually worked. And that's what I love about taking group classes and working with trainers because they put me in my place. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And the thing I think that's really fun about group fitness, like there's the workout itself, which is amazing. And that's what people come for, right? That's what people are coming to the studio to get a great workout. Like they're paying the dollars. They want to get sore. They want to get sweaty. They want all the things. But when you're doing it in a group and you have an instructor guiding you and leading you push harder. And then there's this kind of collective experience that happens, shared experience that brings our clients together and creates that sense of community and
Yeah, the
camaraderie.
camaraderie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the camaraderie about it all, and I love the hey, you want to go get brunch afterwards, you want to sit down and you're just sitting there and you're all looking at each other at brunch like we just got our asses handed to us. But
Like
it's
what happened?
yes, what in the world just happened in that class? But it is so fantastic like you had said, the community that happens in these classes and the people that you're able to meet. I think it makes it even more worthwhile on top of just taking care of yourself.
Yeah, totally. And it's um the world we live in, right? I'm sure you've heard like the loneliness epidemic and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Giving people a place to be a second or third place outside of their home and their office where they can come and be. And one of the things that I love the most and that keeps me fired up and wanting to do this more is that it really is about making people feel good and
Yeah.
helping, our vision is like redefining what success in fitness means,
Yeah.
and facilitating that for people and giving people a place to kind of come as they are without the goal to be to achieve anything, but just to be in your body and be with other people. And it's really powerful and it's really special.
If you were to go back and look at Sarah Catherine, on your first day of work at barre3, what is there a piece of advice? Is there something you would say to her and leave her with?
Wow, you just like stopped me in my tracks a little bit. I'm just like thinking about that. Um, yeah, I mean, I come back to the same thing that I heard from the trainer, like like the opportunities are boundless. Like just keep at it, like stick with it. And you know, understanding that one of the ways that we develop people and one of the ways that we train our instructors or our instructors and our mentors who then support our instructors is like strength-based development. And I think one of the things that has come up for me, like I said, I was an actor, so I was on stage, everybody for years and years and years in front of people doing the thing, wearing tight clothes and singing and dancing and doing all the bits, right? And one would think that that would be equated with having confidence, but truly I didn't have a ton of confidence in myself. And working at barre3, even at the desk and in the play lounge, where it's like, yeah, you have a place here and like you can own who you are. And I think being a barre3 instructor has taught me that over the years and like has continued even through all stages of my life. So I was 30 when I started, and now I'm in my 40s, and I have 2 kids, and it's been with me through all of this, through ups and downs and highs and lows and different seasons of life outside, and the confidence that comes with being engaged with this company is yeah, I think that's the boundless bit, right? Like, because I am boundless inside.
Yes. Yes, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then SaraCatherine, my last question for you is just what overall just inspires you?
Oh gosh, so many things, mostly people. I think that is the thing, and the connection that we have. It's one of the things that our class is also built on. Our class experience is rooted in connection, like true authentic connection, and that comes with the work that I do with my clients when I'm teaching, but also our internal team, really like understanding how to be with people and collaborate in a really productive way. I I'm inspired by the people that are around me all the time, and I think part of that has come from years of deprioritizing my own ego, right? And really actively listening to other people and knowing that there are so many people out there that are so much smarter and insightful, and like it doesn't, just because somebody else is great doesn't mean that I'm not also, right? And so like and also being surrounded by women, like all of our franchise studio owners are women, so being surrounded by a group of really motivated, inspiring, smart, amazing women keeps my motor running. You know what I mean?
That is incredible that all franchisee owners are women.
There's some men in the mix too that are partners, but yeah, all of our studios are
That's incredible.
operated. Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that inspiration though, and I love talking with people. That's kind of what this podcast has been really founded on. Is just I have always loved and appreciated any room that I get to sit around a table and hearing the conversation. I love to just sit there, and it's place that I can be quiet and just listen, and the things that I'm like a sponge taking in these things. But it's incredible the stories you hear from people that you're just like, I can't even imagine the things that some of these people have gone through. So it's incredible just hearing from people every single day.
Yeah. Maybe you should be a barre3 instructor. A whole new way to interact with people.
Yes. Yeah. There's one right up the road for me. Honestly, there's one right around the corner. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Yeah. I mean, the doors open.
I would.
Opportunities are boundless, Danielle.
There you go. I like it. I was just about to say that too. I love it. Well, SaraCatherine, thank you so much for joining me today and let me just dip my toe into your world and understand just everything that you're working on and everything that barre3 is doing. I so appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and you guys, I'm going to have all of barre3 socials down below. Go find a location that's near you. Give them a try. I'm going to leave SaraCatherine's socials down below. But just thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.